following BlizzCon. You know, we've got Overwatch showing up, we've heard about the new Hearthstone adventure, cool stuff. But the first thing that's happening just a few days away is the launch of Legacy of the Void. And to celebrate that, we've got 2 show matches lined up for you. But we gotta ramp up. We can't just go all out Protoss everywhere, Zealots flying everywhere right from the start. We gotta build up first with the story of the Terrans and the Zergs. And to bring us that matchup, we have some legends. What a year it is, 2015. Right now, I'm standing on stage, waiting to introduce to you 4 players on stage playing StarCraft 2 in the new Archon mode. First up, representing the Terrans. What legends they are! One player who pretty much left the biggest landmark in StarCraft history. And his partner, we all know him as the King of Wings. Please welcome Boxer and MVP! Just as exciting, representing the Zerg race. One player, he left a pretty odd legacy of the Kong line, always taking second place. But there's only 2 teams here on this stage, so he's kind of safe for that one. And his partner, we've heard his name chanted all around the globe. Please welcome with me, Yellow and Nasty! Sure, all of you at home are just excited. I won't keep you any longer, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready for this legendary best of 3 Archon mode show match.
예전에 게이머한테도 제일 오고 싶었던 대회가 항상 블리즈컨이라고 얘기를 했었는데, 게이머 때는 잘할 때 왔었어가지고 소중함을 많이 느꼈는데 잘 못 오다가 오게 되니까 굉장히 뜻이고요. 스타원을 시작할 때 제일 재밌었던 경기가 유명한 그런 호텔에서 결승전이었는데, 그 선수들과 제가 지금 여기서 게임을 하는 게 굉장히 영광스러워요. 저는 뭐 홍진호 선수한테는 항상 라이벌 의식이 있고, 홍진호 선수한테도 그런 의식이 아직까지 남아있는지 이번 경기에서 느껴보고 싶고요. 홍진호 선수한테는 재윤아 계실 때 제가 진 빚이 있어서 이번에 이제 그 둘한테 참 좋은 기회가 되지 않을까, 저에게 있어서는요. 그래도 예전에 제가 블리즈컨 했을 때보다 훨씬 더 커지고 요한 형이랑 이렇게 경기하게 돼가지고 나중에 자식을 낳으면 자랑할 수 있는 무대일 것 같아요. 초반에 끝낼 수 있는 그런 머신을 최대한 잘 늘려고 공허의 유산 시합이기도 하고, 제 개인의 욕심만을 모두 충당하기에는 좀 지켜보는 분이 너무 많기 때문에 중후반 들어서는 저만이 상당히 유리하기 때문에 중후반까지 가지 않은 선에서 공허의 유산 많이 보여주는 데입니다. 저도 공허의 유산 나오면 다시 게임을 하면 좋을 것 같다는 생각을 많이 했었는데, 경기장이 우리 한국 게임 팬들이랑 게임 선수들한테 정말 로망 같은 분위기예요. 그래서 이런 분위기에서 게임할 수 있게 지금 유저분들에게 감사하는 말 드리고 싶고요. 최선을 다해서 좋은 경기를 할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
오늘 주인공은 제가 되지 않습니다. micro and attacking the other player, and then MVP is going to focus more on the build for the start, and on the other side, it'll be yellow focusing more on the micro, and then ST on the macro. Now, I don't know how long that'll actually go for. I'm not sure they know how long it's going for, because it'll eventually be a lot of jumping around. I think what David Kim said back there was really interesting about it. If you just keep harassing them, I mean, it's so hard to keep up. One thing about one-on-one StarCraft is that it's almost impossible to keep up entirely, so it gets so tough. You get a lot more action like that.
Indeed, and now we do see a Reaper coming out here. Surely Boxer micro now against Yo-hwan. Look at that, throws down these 8 mines, and these do some area damage, I guess. It makes everything jump in kind of a funny circle around it, but it only does 10 damage, so it's not too much. It's kind of funny looking, but it is a hell of a lot of fun to watch and play.
Yeah, you can definitely relocate those workers, and then you can punish them from totally different angles. So you see those being chucked right now, the queen bouncing up in the air. The command center here being made, macroed out by MVP. Meanwhile, over here at the ramp, more harass is continuing. Boxer looks like they're trying to dive in here to the main of the Archon Zerg.
Looks like Philly's going to chase him back for the time being. Those mines do come up every 10 seconds or so. So see, they do go down again, and drones get thrown off here once again. And finally, guys, before this gets going too quickly, make sure that you jump on Twitter and go hashtag MVP Box if you think they'll win, hashtag YellowNST if you think they'll win, so you can see what people think.
Looks like it's refresh now. I mean, just 1 second. Energy 2. Down here. So far, solid defense there by Yellow. It was cool to see the new Reaper harass being exhibited.
Yo-hwan, Boxer, right now. Kind of a reversal from before.
That's very true. Also, with these two guys here together, I am actually wondering, just because the game's going to slow down just for a second here, how does this look when it really starts to pick up? Because you can't just have one person macroing all the time and one person microing all the time, right? Eventually you might have to cut the map and okay, we can focus more on the top part of just the drops, or I'm going to focus on the ground army. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool, and part of the style of different Archons is like how they're going to split that up. Like if you're beating multi-pronged grass, why not put one guy defending one area and one guy defending the other area? That's definitely a possibility, and I'm sure during later battles that we are going to see both players controlling those battles to try to make sure that they just crush it.
By the way, a little bit of old school flavor here, scouting barracks. That was used much more back in Brood War, so we're seeing kind of a fusion of two styles here on the poke out. Meanwhile, going back into more of the StarCraft 2 traditional style, we see the Hellions coming out here trying to drive back the Queens and then ideally eliminate the creep on the map.
Now, guys, this is the Cyclone. It's like a mobile Scud missile launcher, and it can log on to things. Right now, they're upgrading its damage overall when it does log on. When it locks on, it can move while firing, and it does a lot of damage, especially to armor. Over there, we do see, of course, the Ravager. That comes out of the Roach. Something you can actually morph it into, kind of like a Baneling, but it doesn't die. It does shoot those things up in the air, which land and do a lot of extra splash damage. It's called Corrosive Bile, and it's definitely something you want to dodge.
And yeah, and that really forces the opposing player to give up room on the map because there's going to be locations on the map, as you can see right there, that will be hit, and that allows you to then maybe do damage if you have longer range attacks as they're retreating, or maybe force them to an area of the map where they don't want to go to, but they get trapped in.
That's right, and it's a lot of damage as well. It's 60, and it's AoE damage. So if it lands on a bunch of clumped up units, it can deal a lot, so you have to dodge that. They still do a lot of damage, around 60. You shoot a little bit slower than Roaches, though, so you don't want to fight heads-on just like that. He's going to have to pull back for now.
Well, he's right outside the entrance here, and the Archons are base. They both are, I should say, outside the entrance. And it looks like all that they can try to do right now, is try to blast it back as far as possible. We had an interesting mech push. I'm curious how effective this will be, not just in Archon mode, but in the matchup in general as the game develops further. But he does have SCPs here to repair this.
Well, right now we do have him pushing this back still. A lot of harassment going on with these SCVs, of course, on auto repair, trying to keep everything healthy there for Boxer. Still a little
3-base versus 3-base right now. So while this aggression's going on, the Terran army has actually managed to stay even on bases with the Zerg, which regardless of what version of StarCraft you're playing is always a bad thing for the Zerg.
Yeah, certainly it is the case, and do notice that so much can happen in Archon mode. Look at this, we've had non-stop harassment this game while they're still expanding all over the place. They're both over 100 SPY despite the fact they keep losing units.
Yeah, it's pretty neck and neck, and take a look here. Yellow might actually move around, and let's have some lanes over here towards this expansion.
Indeed, they are. We're going to see what type of damage that they get done. Will MVP be able to deal with that? He doesn't really have a lot of units to work with because Boxer has taken them all to the front.
That's absolutely right. This is going to be a huge problem right now. As you can see, they're just taking so much damage, not much to defend here. Losing these workers is going to be a big problem. The push continues on the entrance.
It does, and we see right now Boxer does have a backup, takes a lot of damage there as MVP takes the Hellions away to defend against these Zerglings.
And that was a great interruption there by ST Yellow to get that over there and slow us down. And this push is really thin out. I'm not entirely sure these two Cyclones are going to be able to do much more damage.
Yeah, I think that at this point, these two lone Cyclones not going to be able to do a whole hell of a lot. You know, Zergling's going to be a pretty good counter to them overall. They're really better against bigger units, you know, in lower amounts because they are so good at single target damage. So something like Zergling is going to be a great counter to this in the future.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. But so far, unless he switches into those Zerglings, they're going to be able to still keep doing more damage. Again, with perfect micro, you're not going to take damage as long as the stats are proper that you can actually run and hit while they're not hitting you. So you can see really a lot of abuse being dealt out here.
And look, he's using the barracks so he can still see those roaches and then he can still deal this damage and run away. And yeah, every now and then the roaches are getting a kill, but oh man, they run too far into those widow mines and Yellow is just hemorrhaging these units.
Again, barracks spotting, not common in StarCraft 2, but much more common in Brutal actually because it was so cheap to have a barracks floating over there. He could have taken damage instead of just standing up there. That seems to pair well with the Cyclones right here.
Now they're pushing forward. I'm very excited to see these Vipers come into action shortly here. I love that Boxer just wants a lot of Cyclones. This is like one of the matchups that I haven't seen this much in, but I guess it's working out right now, dealing a lot of damage to these roaches.
We were actually talking about we weren't sure what the role of the Cyclone would be, but it's very exciting to see it being used here now like this. These roaches now pushing Terran back all the way to home here. Meanwhile, Link's harassing over here in the upper left.
Taking a lot of economic damage maybe coming up here. Still, we do see the Cyclones, though, pushing back these roaches. Another expansion going up now for MVP. In the meantime, Nesty already has his fourth up.
Kind of a never-ending engagement here in the center of the map. And, looks like he didn't quite time that out right. He was probably trying to preempt the movement of the Cyclones and then hit them there. But not so effective.
Not quite. See a lot of damage actually dealt on both sides there. Lots of units added on down. Still trying to hit with Curse Buzz. You gotta be careful with those. You don't want to hit yourself, but does push them back for the time being. More and more mech units coming out now for MVP and Boxer.
Well, now Vipers coming into play. They're still driving it back just a little bit. I think these Vipers are going to fare in this situation.
Well, I think he's probably going to dump these units into his roaches and into his Ravagers, so should be able to kill those off pretty quickly. Now we do have Hellbats coming. I don't know if you want to dump Hellbats. I don't think I've seen it before, but I'm not thinking it's
That's usually not a thing. By the way, Zergling's been decent out there, but if you look at the supply overall, and that's something we haven't really highlighted here, it's 123 for Terran, 187 right now.
You know, watch
Zerg. So
watch how much he kills with those Cyclones. Doesn't seem like that would be the case, but
it seems like there's always a very small number of Zerg units, but then when you actually look at the numbers of it, the game's almost stopped Zerg from making anymore.
Well, when you've already created the universe, is it that hard to create Zerg?
Oh, beautiful hits there with the Widow Mines, really punishing Nesty Yellow and forcing him back.
Right now we do have those aliens going around the map, starting to poke all over the place. We might have these two both starting to micro a little bit. Do you see now that some Liberators are going to be joining the field shortly?
Also, let's point out here, the minerals are mining out very quickly, and that's another feature here in Legacy of the Void, is that you have to take expansions much, much faster. Beautiful harpooning the Cyclones in there and punishing them. I don't know if any bosses should be pushing this much further. And by the way, on the map in the center left, Creep has been pushed all the way to the ideal of double Terran expansion. So Terran unable to get there, MVP Boxer are going to have to fix that.
Very few creeps right there sneaking its way around, but in Heart of the Swarm, the creep stays a lot longer here. It recedes twice as quickly, so when you clean it up, not as much of a big deal. Now, we do see these two Liberators are coming to play. These are an anti-air flying unit, which does splash in, so they're very good against pump units like Needless. And then they can also go into Defender mode here, which does high single target damage. See these circles? They can hit everything in there, and you want to stay away from that. There is so much much damage.
Very tough berserk to deal with in that situation. Hard to get in there. If you overextend, you're obviously going to be punished. As you can see, you can leap far forward and slowly push into the Zerg's territory. By the way, it looks like Terry in this game wants to push into the Zerg's hard and take out the main base versus trying to go crushing expansions. It's really starting to be a game of whack-a-mole.
Indeed it can. Right now we do Ultra is popping out. Titus plating is almost done, and that is different in Legacy of the Void, guys. It gives them +4 armor, which is a lot more than +2. It is, Ultras are way better in Legacy of the Void.
But at the same time, you gotta think, Cyclones be quite good against Ultras in this situation. Yeah, fight endlessly.
Well, especially since they get that plus damage versus armor, they're going to just destroy Ultras so quickly. Really what I feel like is missing here from Yellow and Nesty is a bunch of speed rings to help surround these Cyclones and knock them out.
I think you're completely right, Artosis. I think you've got to remember that, as great as these new units are and the new abilities that come even with some of the older units or new features in them, you have to combo that with more of the basic tier 1 units. Ultras are just not going to be good. They're never good unless there's Zerglings there to pair with.
Indeed the case. A couple Zerglings do pop out, but it looks like right now we do have this natural hatchery being taken out. It was almost mined out, by the way, because the patches are slightly different kicking that right this second, because we do have a counterattack here. Not a very scary one, though. 3 roaches and 2 Ultras.
It's pretty minimal. Also, it looks like Terry may or may not go to the main, or may just go for the other expansions here. Terry does go to the main, all this tech is going to be destroyed. We're already seeing the beginnings of that.
Yeah, as Liberators entering defend mode, you can't run through there. Look at that, how quickly they deal that damage in defender mode. It is absolutely crazy. Those shots have 85 damage apiece, so they will fry anything that runs underneath them.
Yeah, it's definitely a moment where you're not allowed to make a mistake there.
They are glued in where they are, though. When they go in defender mode, they cannot move around, so something like Corrosive Bile, very easy to clean them up with. You just have to hit about 3.
Well, at this point in time, at least all production coming from the main can't really get out of this ring. It's going to be tough, especially if our Terran players are one Terran team. MVP Boxer keeps reinforcing this area, but there's almost not much left here.
Yeah.
Oh, I spoke too soon. Actually, there's plenty over there, so he can still keep pushing up into the main if he wants.
Well, in the meantime, Hellbat's kind of cleaning up this bottom right. There's another Zerg base down in the bottom left, though, and things are not really looking that good, I would say, for Yellow and Nesty.
A fragmented Zerg is not a healthy Zerg, and the fact that there's no circulation between a bunch of the bases that Nesty and Yellow have here means that MVP Boxer can keep choking off different areas, keep quarantining different spots on the map, and then punishing accordingly.
Right now we do have the Infestors coming down, trying to help us out. At least they're hitting some of these bases. Really the top 3 bases in the top left here for Terran is mined out as well. So if they can get rid of that bottom mining base, then suddenly the economies are somewhat even. But right now the supply way in MVP Boxer's favor.
Well, let's also note something here. Not only is this expansion in trouble in the bottom left, but also center left. I believe that's been lifted off. If we can, so relocated that command center here. But this may become somewhat, not of a base race, but them trying to stamp out each other's expansions.
Yeah, it's kind of a base trade. It's like this weird rotational base trade that we're watching right now. Things going wrong all over the places. This is something that's kind of funny as well for Archon mode, is if you get in one of these low economy situations where you're trading bases, suddenly you have 2 people basically just microing the whole time, trying to use their brains together. What do we do in this really weird situation?
Yeah, this is going to be tricky, especially consider all the new units, the fact that they're both having to multitask different things and communicate with each other at the same time.
Right now, it looks like this base will be going down as well. This is going to be just that bottom middle one. He is making some mutas to go there, but Cyclones, of course, can hit air, so should be able to clean those up pretty easily.
Keep in mind the Spire is going to be taken out here as well. Every time Zerg loses a tech building like that, it's going to be problematic. Zerg with limited options and Terran with a healthy and complete main here in tech trade. They can switch whether it's new units or old and continue to punish Zerg.
Indeed they can, but right now these units actually catching a lot of these Cyclones.
But still, the Cyclone splitting there was absolutely phenomenal. Forking them out in different directions, it was a great way to punish them.
Oh man, can't wait for the Falcons and cases. They can teleport now. It is pretty sick and very exciting. It takes a lot of data though, so we'll see if we get to see it in this game before that.
Yeah, we'll have to find out next game, if you play it out to the bitter end. I mean, to be frank, matches here for Terran. So, and also, as far as minerals go, it's not like they have a lot in the bank. So, you know, a few mistakes or miscontrol or miscommunication here by MVP Boxer, and maybe we can pull a miracle out.
Mutas flying around. Let's see what they can get. Oh, that is a lot of Cyclones finding these Mutas right now, and they are going to try to get out there. A few of them do make it out, but they are red in the face right now.
Yeah, they got beaten up pretty badly back there. You see the battle cruisers now coming out over here. Moving across the map. Zerg's down to what? Completely ghost town base, if you want to call it that. And then at the bottom right here, with bare bones of an expansion with no real, nothing they're really defending.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. It looks like it should be coming up pretty quickly. And GG is called. Both like, hey, just like the old days, right? Wow, that was quite a fun little match to start off. Yeah, I would say really the problem is there because for a little bit, Yellow and ST together got way more supply, but eventually it picked apart. And I think that a lot of that has to do with not countering that new Cyclone unit that way.
It might also be